being a highly sensitive person in this world is not easy. And I was doing the dishes today and I was reflecting on growing up and not knowing that I was a highly sensitive person. And on top of that, I'm an empath. I always knew that I was different. I always knew it. I could tell. Like I'd be in a group of people, right? A group of friends, even when I was little. And I could tell that I wasn't like them. I could tell that I felt things deeper than they did. And when you're little and no one is nurturing you and, giving you guidance on, oh, you're a highly sensitive being and you can feel things on a deeper level and you're an empath, so you can feel other people's stuff, you just think that something is inherently wrong with you. And so even though I've never had issues making friends, every friend group I was in, I knew that I was different. And even within the friend group, I could tell who was more sensitive than the other people, but I didn't have words for it. And so I would look at someone in the group and I'd be like, okay, they're different like me, but I didn't understand what that really meant. And so I've basically struggled my whole life of wanting to be something that I'm not, right? Wanting to not be sensitive, not wanting to feel as deeply as I did, like constantly judging myself and hating myself and like, why are you fucking like this? Like, what is wrong with you? Why are you made like this? Why are you created like this, Ellie? Like, and I used to go into all of these like things in my mind. I create all these like mental programs of like, oh, if I could have just been born somebody else, like I wouldn't have to be the way that I am. And it's so sad because highly sensitive people, we come here with a gift. There's only 20% of us in the world, and 20% of animals are also highly sensitive, which is so fucking fascinating. Like, I have 3 dogs, and they're all sensitive in different ways, but my soul dog, she is incredibly highly sensitive. Like, she can feel emotion so fast, it's wild. So anyway, so being a highly sensitive person and navigating this world, and we don't know that we came here to be a soul that chose that because of what we're meant to become. It's really difficult and it's really challenging, and that's why a lot of us lose it. That's why a lot of us fall into addictions, have suicidal ideations, like wanting to leave this planet, longing for somewhere else, because when you're so highly sensitive and you're born into this dense world where there's so much brutality, where patriarchy reigns, where there's so much dehumanization and oppression and just, brutality and disgusting things at every fucking corner, highly sensitive people, this is not a nurturing, comfortable place for us. And unfortunately, a lot of us get lost. A lot of us get lost. And thank God that, I hung on for all this time. And then when I started really doing the work on myself, I'll never forget, I was like sharing in this class that I was in where I was learning and being certified to become a coach to help people heal. I was moving through one of my triggers and I was moving through one of my deep wounds. And all I kept saying was like, I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know why I can feel so much as I can feel. Like I feel so alone. I feel like a reject. I feel like I don't belong. And my teacher, who's very psychic, says in one sentence, you're a highly sensitive person. And it was the first time where I actually felt validated and I felt seen, because nobody had ever put words to what I was. And granted, what I am, my identity isn't in being a highly sensitive person. My identity is the divinity that I am. That's what we all are. I'm not attached to being an HSP, but it allowed me to understand, oh, that's what the fuck I am. And in this book, my teacher, Rachel Fiore, goes deeper into what a highly sensitive person is. So I want to read you some excerpts. HSPs and empaths are the light warriors who are here to lead humanity out of violence and destruction and into the harmlessness and gentleness that is expressed in the new golden age of harmony. Listen to this. Anyone who is a highly sensitive person or an empath shares a common soul purpose in this lifetime. Their global mission is to bring the way of harmlessness and gentleness to our planet and to humanity. If you are an HSP or an empath and you never knew what your mission was, you know it now. Highly sensitive people intensely process subtle information from their environment. The depth at which they process all of this information can evoke intense emotions and requires a tremendous amount of energy. They feel extremely deeply. HSPs tend to observe new environments before jumping in, and they need a lot of recovery time after interacting with others in order for their nervous system to reset. HSPs can sense the emotion of others, including stress and anxiety, and then process this detection inside of themselves. You can see how being around others or socializing in general can cause fatigue and exhaustion. Girl, do I know it. And she just goes deeper into HSPs and empaths and all the different kinds, and it's fascinating. Okay, it's called The 20 Universal Ways of Oneness. It's on Amazon. But helping me to understand what I was started to allow me to go into all of that self-hatred and self-judgment, all of the loneliness that it created, all of the why the fuck am I like this, and fuck me, and like why, because I just, and it's like, it's so interesting because like when I scroll on TikTok and I see all of these like influencers and all these people, I can always feel, you can always tell who's an HSP through the way that they speak, the way that they emote, the things that they speak about, like you can feel it. And I look at all these people that are clearly not HSPs, and this is no judgment, this has just been my whole life. And just knowing and understanding, holy shit, I'm not like that at all. Like I'm just not. And in that way too, I've always been kind of a loner in that sense. Like I've always had friends, but I always knew that I was like the oddball out in the group. Always. Even if it's with people that like I absolutely have so much chemistry with and all this stuff, I could always tell I'm not like them. And what the fuck? And I've done a tremendous amount of healing around that. And now it's like, I'm an HSP and I rock that shit. Like, I know that I came here to be extremely sensitive, to feel extremely deeply, to help change this world. We're meant to be the leaders of the new earth, because when you are so tapped in sensitivity-wise and emotion-wise and all of that, we come from a different place than people who aren't sensitive, who aren't empathic. And that doesn't mean that people who aren't HSPs or empaths are bad people. No, it's just, we're just different. And in the difference, no one's higher or better than the other. It's just what we came in as. It's what we chose to be. And so for all my HSPs out there and my empaths, I know the road's been tough, but holy fucking shit, it's time to find your power in all of it. You came here to feel the way that you feel. It is a fucking gift. It is. And it hasn't made sense to you all up in this time up until now, but the more you heal, the more you will see why you came in with this gift and what you're here to do as a result of having these gifts. I've spent my entire life in suffering, okay? And I'm 37, so I've spent a long time just drowning in suffering. And recently, I went into a big healing with my colleagues and my mentor. And the trigger was that I was getting lost in the suffering of animals. Anytime I see animals suffering, anytime I'm at the shelter, I lose my shit. And I just drown in everything that I feel, the hopelessness, the sadness, all of it. And as I was going into this healing and as I was going into this trigger, where it led to was the deep realization and the seeing that I have been so attached to suffering. I'm an empath, and as a little girl, right? I was born in the late 80s. It's not like anything about emotional or mental health or anything about spirituality or anything about how to guide a young being to understand what it is there, right? And so as an empath and as a highly sensitive person, I literally started taking on everybody's stuff. And I thought that was love. So when I would see my mom in suffering, when I would see my dad in suffering, my grandma in suffering, anybody I saw in suffering, what I would do, and I have so many memories of this, I would literally open myself up and just take on all of their stuff, because I thought that taking on their stuff was love. And if I take on their stuff, that they wouldn't be alone, because the deeper understanding of that is that in my suffering, I don't want to be alone. So I don't want people to feel what I feel. So let me take it on. Let me become it. Let me drown in your suffering with you. And now on my healing path, I'm understanding and seeing none of that is actually love. You must become what they need you to become. And that starts within yourself first. So when I'm seeing animals suffering and I'm drowning in all their sadness and all their hopelessness, does that help them vibrationally? Fuck no.
what I need to become in that moment is what I would want someone to become for me when I'm in suffering, which is power. And how do you do that? Well, you connect back to your soul. You connect back to your heart. You connect back to the internal divine power that you are, because you are divinity itself. And as you do that, you transmute all of the suffering of this being, of this animal, whatever it is, the sadness, the powerlessness. You know, I remember I met this girl and she was telling me the story of like her friend was like in really deep depression, and she went to go visit her and she wore really raggedy clothes, and like she dropped her energy levels, and like she became what her friend was because she didn't want her friend to feel any type of way if she was happy. And I looked at her, I was like, that's fucked. And I realized I've done that my entire life. The most powerful and the most loving thing you can do for any being that is drowning in anything that is low, that is awful, that is in suffering, that is in sadness, depression, anxiety, worry, is to become a powerful divine being. To give them compassion from a place of power, the divine enlightened definition of what it means to be compassion. To give them everything they need, hope, not even hope, the knowing that everything is going to work out, everything is going to be exactly what it's going to be for your highest good. And let me come here and let me be everything that you are not. And you don't think that in that energy, a being who is suffering will not connect to what they actually are, what they will feel, what's actually inside of them underneath all of the suffering? Of course they will. I've been attached and I've identified with all of this stuff because I thought it was love. None of it's love. So now my job is every time I start to feel, oh, I got to drown with them. No, let me connect. Let me open. Let me become everything for myself, so that in becoming everything and in everything that I am for myself, I become that for you. Ooh.